Hello, class, and welcome to Chapter 6, Ancestral Humans. The discovery of both Australopithecus aceti as well as Homo naldi um, really kind of help us to bridge the gaps in our understanding of what it means to be human and how our evolutionary processes happened. Um, at one point, we thought that there were not many options for finding new species. But with these two, it really came about that there is a lot more for us to learn. So let's talk a little bit about Australopithecus sebdia. Sorry, just a little bit. It was found in the Malapa cave, and they were complete specimens, which is pretty unusual for the time period. They are relatively young as far as ancestral humans go. Their teeth, arms, legs, and narrow upper chest resemble earlier Australopithecus, which we will look at a little bit later. However, their broad lower chest resembles humans, as well as some of the dentation. It seems as if some of their teeth were that of Australopithecus, and some of them were more along the lines of what we find in the Homo species. When they measured the strength of the humerus and the femur, they were able to see that they had a much more bipedal nature than had originally been thought, which is kind of interesting. It points to the fact that there were changes in the pelvis, but not all of the skeletal features pointed to bipedalism. They still had longer upper limbs and small cranial capacities. So, what this does for our understanding of our evolutionary history is it shows that changes in the pelvis, as well as dentition, occurred before changes in proportions of limbs and cranial capacities. Legs and feet point of this species point to previously unknown way of walking, and how it is thought that the Australopithecus sediba walked was with its foot turned inward, but the weight was out on the outer edge of the foot. So this is proof that bipedalism evolved through more than one path. Then if we look at Homo naldi, this was found very recently, actually, less than a decade ago, in 2013 in a cave in Africa. And these are definitely of the Homo species, and it's a mix of both modern and archaic traits. And this points to multiple human species evolving in parallel as well as coexisting, which is really just kind of amazing. I will link a YouTube video, a National Geographic special type thing, for you all to watch on the archaeologist who found these specimens, which are really cool. And he does talk about genomic science and technology and how it's really transitioned towards that kind of thing. He is a paleoanthropologist, paleoarchaeologist, I guess would be the best term to use. But anyway, paleoanthropology is the study of fossilized remains of ancient hominids to shed light on their biological and behavioral evolution. So, fossils, kind of one of those interesting things. These are our primary line of evidence as far as how these species lived, as well as their link to us. So, the process of fossilization happens when hard tissues such as bone and teeth turn to stone. Some fossils, trace fossils, are impressions of softer tissues such as organs, skin, feathers, and so on stone. And we do have two separate ways of trying to date the fossils that we find. One is relative dating, and these are techniques that prove rough estimates of an age of the fossil artifact or archaeological feature relative to other fossils, rocks, artifacts, or features on the same stratigraphy of the line. So when we're looking at layers of soil, they are stratified, and the strategic level at which the fossils are found can be compared to others of that same stratigraphy in the landscape. And that's how they do relative dating. Absolute or chronometric dating. This is any dating method that determines an age of a fossil, rock, artifact, or archaeological feature on some specified time scale. And this is typically like carbon-14 dating and whatnot. Methods of excavation and dating tend to be selected based upon the types of artifacts as well as the site. So there's no clear-cut way of dating something. So, what, when, and where? These are the questions that we are going to be trying to answer. The fossil record shows that the genus to which we belong, Homo, emerged roughly 2 million years ago and began to diversify between 1.8 million and 300,000 years ago, exhibiting a growing humanness in our ancestors. So, with that said, when, where, and how did our human ancestors emerge, and under what condition did modern humans evolve? Who are our earliest ancestors? What does walking on two legs and having a big brain mean for us? Who were the first humans and where did they live? How do we know if the first humans were cultural beings, and what role did culture play in their evolution? So, there are two key issues that we need to kind of explore. What is our evolutionary relationship to other apes, as well as how does the relationship affect how we view and name certain fossils from 6 to 1 million years ago? We do know that all great apes and humans are placed together in Hominida. This is a family of primates that includes humans as well as their ancestors. So this is a really good slide to look at and see how exactly we evolved. And we'll try to go over most, probably not all, of these specimens. So we have Hominida, and it has two subfields. The Pongonea, which is the Asian-derived subfamily, including orangutans, and Hominia, which is the African subfamily, and these include humans, chimpanzees, and gorillas. Hominini is a tribe to which humans and our direct human ancestors belong, hominins. So all hominins are homininis, but only homininis are hominins, modern humans and our direct lineage. So, what did walking on two legs and having big brains mean for early hominins? Bipedalism is one of the determining traits of hominins. It's directly linked with our emergence as well as separation from the apes. It is important to note that there's a difference between bipedal allowing anatomy that still enables the use of four limbs for moving and climbing, and bipedal enforcing anatomy as modern humans have. So, just kind of an important thing to notate. Our increased brain size is also very significant and enabled us to acquire a degree of social complexity and tool use not seen in other apes. So let's kind of delve into the idea of bipedalism. No single explanation is entirely satisfactory, probably because the evolutionary process have overlapping dimensions and complex effects on any species. But we do know that bipedalism is extremely important. Um, it helps in carrying objects. It benefits the hunting. It allows for upright reaching. It aids in visual surveillance and vigilance. Um, while on a hunt or out and about. It aids in long distance walking and riding, and it also helps with heat regulation. As you can tell from the picture, our anatomy has definitely changed quite a bit in order to have a bipedal enforcing anatomy. So, the increase in cranial capacity, our great brain power. It also increased our metabolism, and it had a high cost for the body. When we started our increase in meat consumption, it did help to meet the added energy cost of having such a large brain. The abundance and relative ease of gathering roots, tubers, nuts, and fatty fruits as a source of high quality nutrition made them staple elements for the Homo diet. Um, the consumption of meat is supported by findings at fossil sites, but it was also a small portion of early diets. Meat was not the end all be all. Those high fatty fruits and nuts and tubers were very important for that as well. So, bicultural evolution and early humans. The hypothesis of this is that bipedalism and this increased brain power with associated changes to diet, tool use, and social relations contributed to the evolutionary changes that we see today, which of course led to later forms of Homo. If true, this hypothesis points to some powerful and new, the interaction of biology and culture through evolution to meet selective challenges, which is something that we most definitely believe that there is a biocultural link to our evolutionary trajectory. With that being said, hominin fossil evidence. Fossil evidence of ancestral hominins come from Africa during the end of the Miocene. So, and let me quickly just kind of explain the different scenes. We have the Miocene, which is from 22 to 5.3 million years ago. The Pliocene, which is 5.3 to 2.5 million years ago, and the Pleistocene, which is 2.5 million to 11,500 years ago, just so you know. But numerous identifiable hominins emerged during both the Pliocene and the Pleistocene. Evolutionary relationship between these and earlier Miocene hominids remain kind of unclear. And we're talking about the Australopithecus, the Paranthropus, as well as the Homo subspecies. And that is going to be it for part 1 of chapter 6. I will see you again soon. Cheers.